Well, welcome back, everyone. Whoever, joins or decides to come in and watch this. If anyone does at all. It gets, these live things, they get some traction, but nowhere near the traction that the videos I upload do. I don't know what is going on with the fucking internet. I'm gonna call the company and bitch and complain about them. That's what happened yesterday. What sucks is I never really got around. I don't even know where the stream cut off, but yesterday what I was talking about. I know I haven't switched to the camera or anything yet. It's intentional. But yesterday, what I was talking about, I don't know when it cut off, is that now the United States is going to be buying beef from Argentina, where Malay is. And so we've already paid $40 billion in tax of our tax money to Javier Milei, to Argentina, for the, anarcho capitalist experiment that, any economist worth a lick would have told you that would never work. That's a bad idea. That's a stupid idea. You'll bankrupt the country, and that's exactly what it did. So that's why we paid. Why they took $40 billion of American taxpayer money and gave it to Javier Milei is because that's exactly what that did. It bankrupted the country, created mass poverty, but that wasn't enough. Now, also to help out Javier Milei, because I think they really, really, really want that sort of libertarian-esque anarcho-capitalist system to work. They need it to look good, because that's ultimately what they're trying to do here in the United States. You look at all the cutting and defunding and laying off of our government bureaus and agencies that provide a lot of oversight, guide rails or guardrails and everything. and how companies can behave and interact with the public, or just employees in general. Like they've been chipping away at this for a long time. Like, for example, they chipped away at the ADA when they said, "Hey, companies, you can decide. It's not we're not going to create legislation based off of laws and cases and stuff through courts of what of what the public thinks is reasonable or unreasonable accommodations. We're going to allow the companies to decide what they think is reasonable and unreasonable accommodations," which led to things like job codes being invented. So, they give you this job code. It's like, I can do these things, but not these things. Well, that's an unreasonable accommodation. That's what happens. So you've got this large group of people with disabilities who used to be able to find a job that they could do through accommodations that no longer can do that because the company said, nah, we don't want to do that. And then to make it even worse, the Trump regime, I believe he did this with an executive order. He might have done it some other way, but he has made it to where I believe within in the first month of him, so it might have been an executive order that he signed making this possible, where businesses can just openly discriminate against people with disabilities. They can just, you're fired. We're not hiring you on the sole basis and principle of being disabled. So the ADA Act is essentially just, only on paper and a mild suggestion at best. And so that leads even more people with disabilities to roam around on the street and be homeless and poop in your yard and die in your yard, and so that all the far right people can complain about that and think that the solution is not telling the companies not to do that, to have it so that these people can have employment. No. The answer is, of course, is like, let's just put them all in prison, in camps, and dehumanize them. That's one thing that I think is so wild about the right-wing stance. I noticed this, is that when talking about homelessness, a lot of right-wing people that I've talked to are totally willing to pay taxes, a lot more in taxes, like tons and tons and tons of taxes. Let's keep the numbers simple so it's easy to understand. They'd rather pay $10 in taxes to keep someone behind bars with their humanity stripped, their civil rights, liberties, freedoms, dehumanized, treated like shit, treated like a criminal, socially ostracized. They would rather do that, pay $10 for that, than pay $5 for what we were doing, which is just letting them be on the street. And the $5 was used to go around and clean up the waste that they'd leave behind, or clear out tent cities when they would pop up in areas that snobby rich people didn't want them to be, cleaning up, poop, other waste, the dead bodies, and having the resource centers and stuff like that, or the shelters. They would rather pay that $10 for all the dehumanizing, criminalizing shit than pay $1 to have homes where there's an initial investment, where the state goes in and buys these abandoned apartment complexes or hotels and motels and turns them into like little studio apartments, and then that becomes free housing for homeless people, which housing first is a step, is that you can't expect somebody to get back on their feet until you give them substantial housing first. Once they have a door that locks and they're able to have a bathroom where they can groom, they can cook, they can sleep, they can have an alarm clock, they have clothes that are clean, etc., then they can start working on getting back on their feet, getting a job, etc., and becoming, like, so also part of this program is that once they start getting on their feet, they can start contributing a little bit of money towards a very, 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 very low rent rate, because the idea is to save up as much money as you can so that they don't have to live in this single studio sort of apartment that was made from a hotel room or something, and to be able to get like a one bedroom, like a nice one bedroom apartment, like a better one, or a 2 bedroom one, or a house, or whatever. They'll be on their own and independent again. That's the whole goal behind that, and that's $1 to do that. So very, very humanitarian, very egalitarian, gets to the root of the problem. Has places that have done this have pretty much eliminated their homeless population. They don't have a homeless population in the places that have done that, and it's cheaper to do that than what a lot of right wing people I've talked to who no, we want to throw them in prison. Which is so dehumanizing. It's like, why is, like, not only is that the most expensive thing to do, why is it that the answer that a lot of right wing people have to things are always some form of cruelty, some form of dehumanization, criminalization, oppression, subjugation. I mean, like, how come it is that they don't like to see solutions that don't do those things and are actually cheaper and more cost effective than things that are cheaper, more cost effective tend to be more humanitarian, more egalitarian, and not shit all over rights, liberties, freedoms, and stuff like that. I do not understand that. It's almost like their policies are guided by a deep-seated, irrational, rooted hatred and despise for other human beings. They and I don't know what goes on in a person's life to make them so fucking bitter and hateful, but I guess that's the way it goes. So anyway, this whole like buying beef from Malay. Now, there's nothing like Argentinians' beef is reliable. It's not like a manufacturing and stuff is dirty or anything like that. They actually follow a lot of health codes and guidelines. They sell to a lot of they sell their beef to a lot of other countries, and so there's a lot of health regulations that they follow because of them doing that. There was like some case of screwworm or something like that, but it not huge problem. So the thing is that this will open up even more competition for domestic ranchers. So for ranchers here in the United States, they are actually going to have to compete with other ranchers the world over, which means a reduction in sales in U.S. beef. Trump says that he's doing that because it'll decrease the cost of beef. Well, we already buy beef from Argentina, so no. He's just increasing the amount that we import from Argentina by a little bit. It's not only getting beef. The only reason why it's cheaper is because of Malay's policies. The Argentinian currency has become worthless, which is where the US dollar is heading, because we've done very similar things as what Malay has done here in the United States. It's had drastic impacts to our economy, drastic impacts to Wall Street, to stocks, to businesses, drastically bad impacts to economics just in general. There's been so many businesses that have just been that have shut down, mass layoffs, and it's not just brick and mortar mom and pop stores that have closed down. It's even the big multi conglomerates have closed thousands of stores down across the United States, laying off millions of people. We are in a job deficit. This is the same thing that happened in Argentina. This is what happens when you do this mass deregulation shit. So because their currency is now worth less than a dog turd, we're able to, like, essentially like a million of their currency is like worth $1 US or something, because their currency is just falling apart. And to be honest, ours is doing that too. Less and less countries are backing up their currency in US mint. That's going poof, bye-bye. The US dollar is losing its value on the world stage, and our economy is tanking, and we have a deficit, and we have a national debt that is just truly mind-blowing. Like, I don't know that anyone ever imagined that we would have that kind of deficit or debt. It at least not for, another like 20, 40 years. But Trump just kind of pressed on the gas pedal and sped us all the way up there somehow. And doing this does not put America first. It does not put U.S. ranchers first. It puts Javier Milei and Argentina's ranchers first. And China and all these other countries, like not just China, but European countries, they're not buying U.S. beef anymore either, because of all the jackassery that Trump has been doing. This is just real. This is just what's fucking happening. If you're really super fucking fascinated and interested in Wall Street and stocks and economy and stuff like that, I don't know why you would support the fucking guy, because he's extremely damaging to all this stuff. Extremely damaging. There are people who are like sweating bullets about the 401ks, like our retirement. If you are a millennial, your retirement is shot. Like they took it out back and did some street justice. Took you down to Central and Quindaro and put a bullet in your head in a parking lot or a construction site somewhere, drop your body in the river to our 401ks. Like, your 401k is dead. It is fucked. So that doesn't put America first. And that's what was frustrating me so bad, is the people who support the administration. They just keep doing these mental backflips. These mental gymnastics and rationalizations, and I don't think that there's anything Trump could do to get these people off of it. I literally think that it's just right-wing Republican good, and I think that's as deep as the thought goes. There's no deeper thought. Anything that he does, no matter how much he destroys society, destroys the economy, destroys our civilization, destroys America, destroys our presence on the world stage, makes our country into a laughingstock, turns us into a third world country, destroys U.S. currency, destroys the framework of how our government functions that the founders created. No matter what this guy does, these people on the right will rationalize it somehow. And it doesn't matter if it's actually the majority of the time it is not rooted in reality. It is rooted in something else, like just some make-believe fantasy crap thing that they made up that you know, just kind of like, well, what about China? It's like I don't know what about China? How well, somebody needed to do something about it, and it's like it doesn't even make sense. It's like, you don't know what you're talking about. Sit down. And it gets frustrating because it's like even the things you think people would be focused on and have been focused on, he's been like just setting those things on fire, just burning them. Like, yeah, it's just unbelievable. Like, what is happening to farmers in the United States? The growing suicide rates, the massive amount of bankruptcies that we're going to see in the farming community. Ranchers are going to be soon to follow. Because of what he's doing. That's all there is to it. The other thing I didn't get around to was one of the articles was about a Netflix true crime series. And oh my God, if you have not seen that, if you have Netflix, I would highly recommend it. It's called The Good Neighbor or something like that. Hold on, let me look it up. Netflix true crime documentary 2025. We'll look at that. No. True crime. The Perfect Neighbor. That's what it's called. The entire documentary was made from police body cam footage and footage that they took from when they do their what do you call it? It's not questioning when they. I've interrogation of the one that there's this woman, this stuck up, bratty, snotty, like woman that was just super annoying. Like any time like a child like got near her lawn and like a piece of hair like flew in the wind and went over like the line of where her lawn was, like she would flip out about it. She tried throwing a pair of roller skates at one of the children's heads, and naturally that pissed the fucking mom off, and so the mom went up just pounding on the fucking door, like probably like honestly she should have faced the music on that one. you know, like you threw roller skates at her child's head. And you know, at that point you just kind of face the music, and you're gonna get cussed out, possibly punched in the face. And I mean, if you tried throwing roller skates at a child's head, you deserve that. But now, like I'm talking about, like, is that a rational thing to do? No, it's very emotionally charged. But I think any mother would do that in that position. Any mom would do that. But you don't think rationally in instances like that when you get really heated and you start worrying about your babies. Don't ever fuck with a mama's baby. That's across the fucking animal kingdom. Like, shit. And the thing is like, probably the most that would have happened is she just would have been cussed out. But we always want the most calm and logical thing in these situations, and that's easy to say. It's not always easy for everyone to do because emotions happen. We're emotional beings, and what we you know, like, if we were thinking calm and rational all the time, then yeah, you would have just called the police and, you know, had her arrested for trying to assault a minor with a pair of roller skates, which could have killed him. I don't know what the charge for that would have been, but this stuffy old bitch ended up shooting the mom through the door. And yeah, she got prosecuted for it. And I mean, it is really fucking heartbreaking to watch. Like, especially the part where they had to deliver the news the mom died to the family. Oh man, it was very, very heartbreaking. It's not an easy, like, documentary to watch, especially as it goes on, but I can see why people who've watched it say it is really uncomfortable, but it's something that America needs to see, for a variety, a plethora of different reasons. You know, there's just things that we don't want to acknowledge, and this kind of that documentary kind of touches on it. But yeah, I don't know what the deal is with the fucking internet. Like, it's been really, like, spotty and shitty. It's like intermittent internet, and I don't know why. Intermittent internet. I don't. Yeah, I don't know why intermittent is like 5 minutes. You have maybe 30 minutes of internet, and then it'll go off for like 5 minutes, and then 45 minutes of internet, and then it'll go off for 5 minutes. I don't know. That needs to stop. It's like, we're not paying you for intermittent internet, you fucks. And again, that this has to do with very right-wing political policies that have allowed these companies to keep consolidating and create monopolies and make it so that there's really no competition. Like, you can't escape, like, whatever. I don't know. It's fucking dog shit. Like, basically the ISPs are like, oh, we can do whatever we want, because what are you gonna do about it? Go to another company? Oh, that's right, you can't. We're the only ones. Yeah. Sucks. So they get to do whatever they want, and gets into a subject matter that I've been talking a lot about recently in my personal life about economic violence. And it's economic violence is something that is really getting on my fucking nerves. But what was getting on my nerves yesterday was just the fact that all this stuff is going on, and a lot of people just, it's like, oh shit. I don't know why people are excusing this stuff. Like, why are we excusing the United States bombing fishing boats off the coast, like down there in the what is it, Venezuelan fishing boats? Like, why has this become the accepted norm for America? Oh, and it turns out that the two people that survived in this last boat thing, not a drug dealer, and that's why they paid them reparation money, because in court that would be divulged, is that, we've been killing innocent civilian fishermen. Oops. And so that was one thing that was just really frustrating to me, is that this is coming out in news and media now, is that these are actually just regular fishing boats off the coast of Venezuela, and innocent civilians, and the United States is, just killing people, just killing civilians. And everyone's acting like that's well, not everyone, but a lot of people are acting like that's supposed to be normal, or I don't even know what the fuck. Like, no, that's not normal shit. And yet again, like, there's so many people out there that will try to justify it, or play these red herring games and talk about something unrelated. Like, I saw it's actually an old neo-skeptic, air quotes, from back in the day. I forget what his fucking name is, but one of his videos popped up in my YouTube suggested feed, and I remembered who this guy was from back in the day of, like, the whole anti-SJW neo-skeptic thing, and he was trying to say, and hold on a second. He was trying to, we're not going to talk about, irrational, the irrationality, like honestly, you don't need the fucking U.S. Marines to kill innocent civilian fishers in a fishing boat off the coast of Venezuela. Like, all you need is, like, one guy to do that. But we're using the U.S. military and treating it like they're like this militarized brigade of, like, drug pushers, and in all actuality, no, they're just civilian fishermen. That's it. But so this guy, this YouTube guy, he wants to talk about how a really, really intelligent guy figured out that, the left is saying there's far more far right, there's this huge rise in far right violence, or far right terrorism and domestic terrorism, more so than Islamic extremism or leftist extremism. Because within the last year, and he says within the last year, the far left has done more. And the person who is this really, really, really smart person who figured this out, Lex fucking Friedman. It's like, what fucking sources, dude? Fuck. I mean, it doesn't really matter, does it? Who says it? Is it factual? Is it true? And the thing is like there's no sources that I've seen or anyone else has seen that would corroborate that. None. Like what the fuck are you? Where? Maybe if you count property destruction, then yeah, there could be some legitimacy to that. But if we're using an internal source that's deliberately trying to be as politically partisan as possible and going out of their way to create a demonized group of people to rationalize hostile approaches to that group of people, which one of those people is running our Department of Justice right now, who removed the state statistics off of the government webpage, .gov, that showed that, yes, radical right-wing extremist terrorism violence has been up for a while now. Another interesting data point here too. So, the thing is like, white supremacists love to point out the crime rate statistics within the black community, but like, it gets so much more complicated because the vast majority of crimes are crimes of passion, and like 80% of these crimes that the people of color faces, black people have 80% of the most where their cases get reviewed and dismissed as just being incorrect adjudications. But the thing is the vast majority of the demographic that is committing the most amount of crimes is cis het white men, and that's reflected in a lot of like if you look at the statistics on the demographic that does more mass shootings. It's not black people. It's not people of color. It's not BIPOC. It is white men. If you look at the majority, of the demographic that and been prosecuted for child like sexual things, like the pedophilia thing. Again, that's like 80% white cis het people. 80%. If you're curious on the amount of people who identify as LGBTQIA plus in that demographic, they only make up 0.1 or 0.01% of child sex abuse cases. And that's it. But 80% cis white het men. So I thought it was just so interesting how this super intelligent person, who I guess is so intelligent they can just magically pull statistics right out of fucking thin air. They fart statistics, I guess. I'm not sure how that fucking works. But apparently, because Lex Friedman said it, it's just true. Because, Lex Friedman just farts facts. So, but they're not gonna talk about. They're not gonna talk. We're not gonna talk about the four mass shootings that occurred in 24 hours. That incident that was all far right extremists. We're not gonna talk about that. Nope. We're not gonna talk about that. We're not going to talk about how the United States has been bombing. We just found out. 2 of them lived. We found out. They're just innocent civilians that were fishing, and they have no drugs on them. We're not going to talk about that. Nope. We're not going to talk about that. Those types of people are not going to talk about how the farmers are hurting, about how the ranchers are going to find themselves in the same position as the farmers. We're not these right wing neo-skeptic anti-SJW fucking shitheads are not going to fucking talk about their struggles and how their struggles are a direct result of the current regime's policies. That, I mean, literally, it watching all of this go down is like watching somebody saw their own fucking leg off. It is wild. And, the farmers and rancher people, well, not the rancher people yet, we've seen the farmers, they've been looking at leftists going like, why don't you have any sympathy or empathy for us? And it's like, we do. Why aren't the right-wing pundits on social media, why aren't they talking about your issues? Why is it the only people that I've seen even bring up the issues that are faced by farmers right now have all been left-wing people? Every single one of them. Why aren't the right-wing pundits talking about these very, very specific issues? I have not seen them talk about it. It is possible that there's some, I don't watch everything that, like, Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles, and Tim Pool, and blah, 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 blah. I could list a litany of different right-wing, like media people. I don't watch everything that they shit out, and they shit out a lot of fucking content. Like, some of these channels, like, I've talked to my husband about it. I'm like, some of these channels, they like just poop videos. It's like every step they take, they poop out another video. They're just coming up, like, they release like 25 videos in one day, and it's wild. I think the Daily Wire is kind of in that bracket where it's just like video. But I'm also just not going to sit around and consume right-wing content all day. I don't want to do that. So it's very possible one of them is covering it, but most of the people I've seen talking about these things is like the farmer sitting there. Why doesn't the left? The left's the ones talking about it. I have not seen the right-wing commentators. It doesn't mean there isn't any. It just means I haven't seen the right-wing commentators cover the farmers, and soon to be, hopefully not, but possibly soon to be the American ranchers. I'm going to put some music on for just a second. I'm going to go do something. Don't worry. It won't be that bad. I just have to make sure that it's something that's not copyrighted. It won't be. It'll be fine. It's good music. It's kind of folkish. I wish I had the punk version, but I don't. Be right back. Enjoy Beatific Smile.
Take you
I'm back now. I just I wanted to make this shaking thing, you know, like the little protein shakes and stuff like that. Just wanted something to drink. Anyway, so here, I'm just going to these articles, like, but and they're in the they're in the description, but we have by Reuters, wide-ranging group of U.S. officials pursues Trump's fight against deep state. I have no idea what they mean. What do they mean by deep state? So, let's see.
Wide-ranging group of U.S. officials pursues Trump's fight against deep state. Corrects garbled and missing words in 6th paragraph. By Jonathan Landy, Sarah N. Lynch and Phil Stewart. Washington, Reuters, a group of dozens of officials from across the federal government, including U.S. intelligence officers, has been helping to steer President Donald Trump's drive for retribution against his perceived enemies, according to government records and a source familiar with the effort. Advertisement. The Interagency Weaponization Working Group, which has been meeting since at least May, has drawn officials from the White House, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, the Central Intelligence Agency, the Justice and Defense Departments, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Department of Homeland Security, the Internal Revenue Service and the Federal Communications Commission, among other agencies. 2 of the documents show. Trump issued an executive order on his inauguration day in January instructing the Attorney General to work with other federal agencies to identify and take appropriate action to correct past misconduct by the federal government related to the weaponization of law enforcement and the weaponization of the intelligence community. Attorney General Pam Bondi and Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard earlier this year announced groups within their agencies to root out those who they say misused government power against Trump. Shortly after Reuters asked the agencies for comment on Monday, Fox News reported the existence of the group, citing Gabbard as saying she stood up this working group. Key details in the Reuters story are previously unreported. Advertisement. Several U.S. officials confirmed the existence of the Interagency Weaponization Working Group to Reuters in response to the questions and said the group's purpose was to carry out Trump's executive order. None of this reporting is new, said a White House official, speaking on condition of anonymity. ODNI spokeswoman Olivia Coleman said, Americans deserve a government committed to depoliticizing, depoliticizing and ensuring that power is never again turned against the people it's meant to serve. The existence of the interagency group indicates the administration's push to deploy government power against Trump's perceived foes is broader and more systematic than previously reported. Interagency working groups in government typically forge administration policies.
So you hear that a government that's not supposed to turn against the people it's supposed to serve. Like, why should I even have to point out the hypocrisy in that? That should be obvious. Like, Trump is definitely not doing that. Trump is definitely using the government and pointing it at the people it's supposed to serve. Like, I forget how many Americans it is and what percentage of the American population. I've heard it touted out a few times. But basically, like, with some of the shit that he's done, he, like, half the country is basically domestic terrorists. And I forget what number is assigned to that. But, I mean, that is very partisan political demonization and using very inappropriately government powers to pit the government against the people it is meant to serve. Like, Trump is up there acting like the only people he's meant to serve are the people who voted for him and support him, and literally no one else. And he doesn't even do that. He's self-serving.
Share information and agree on joint actions. Advertisement. Trump and his allies use the term weaponization to refer to their unproven claims that officials from previous administrations abused federal power to target him during his 2 impeachments, his criminal prosecutions, and the investigation into Russia's interference in the 2016 election. The interagency group's mission is basically to go after the deep state, the source said. The term is used by Trump and his supporters to refer to the president's perceived foes from the Obama and Biden administrations in his own first term. Reuters could not determine the extent to which the interagency group has put its plans into action. The news agency also could not establish Trump's involvement in the group. Biden, Comey, others reportedly discussed. Advertisement. Among those discussed by the interagency group, the source said, were former FBI Director James Comey, Anthony Fauci, Trump's chief medical advisor on the COVID-19 pandemic, and former top U.S. military commanders who implemented orders to make COVID-19 vaccinations compulsory for service members. Discussions of potential targets have ranged beyond current and former government employees to include former President Joe Biden's son, Hunter, the source said. A senior ODNI official disputed that account and said there was no targeting of any individual person for retribution. IWWG is simply looking at available facts and evidence that may point to actions, reports, agencies, individuals, etc. who illegally weaponized the government in order to carry out political attacks, the official said. Lawyers for Comey and Hunter Biden did not immediately respond to requests for comment, and there was no immediate response from Fauci. Advertisement. Reuters reviewed more than 20 government records and identified the names of 39 people involved in the interagency group. 5 of the records concerned the interagency group, 5 pertained to the weaponization working group that Bondi announced in February, and 9 referred to a smaller subgroup of employees from DOJ and several other agencies that remain focused on the January 6, 2021, attack by Trump supporters on the U.S. Capitol. The source said an important player in the interagency group is Justice Department Attorney Ed Martin, who failed in May to win Senate support to become U.S. Attorney for Washington after lawmakers expressed concern about his support for January 6 rioters. Martin, who also oversees Bondi's DOJ weaponization group, is the department's pardon attorney. Martin did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Other people working in or with the group include COVID-19 vaccine mandate opponents and proponents of Trump's false claims that the 2020 presidential election was stolen from him, according to a Reuters review of their social media accounts and public statements.
I love how this very, very bizarre comparison of a tyrannical dictatorship government is you have to take a vaccine if you want to be in the military, compared to, I'm going to bring this up. 2 trans people being put into forced labor, forced labor, which is slavery, and the ICE agents at the detention facility repeatedly sexually assaulting these trans women over and over and over again. So, somehow getting a vaccine is more tyrannical than being forced to do work, having all your rights, liberties, and freedoms stripped, being dehumanized, thrown into a cage like an animal, fed shit, and have no autonomy over oneself, and then to have people just use you at like a blow-up doll over and over and over again with no accountability. How are these comparable? They're not. They're fucking not. They're not. And this is what they're claiming is oh, that's using the government against the people. Man, throughout history, during these disease outbreaks, epidemics, pandemics, whatever, throughout history, go and look at how these countries, you go back far enough, you start looking at kings and queens, like royalty, and how they react to them. Some of them they always do these sort of quarantine measures and do things get a little stricter to try to control the outbreak of the disease. During bubonic plague, you had countries that were so barbaric and tyrannical that if one person in your family had bubonic plague, your entire family was just shoved into your little sod house, and then they would brick you and your family in, just bricked in. You cannot leave. You are stuck in the house with a family member who's going to die of bubonic plague. You're stuck in there with them. There's nothing you can do. You're going to either die from catching bubonic plague, or you're going to fucking starve to death. Regardless, there's no way out. Everyone in there is going to die. And then you look at, like, Britain was like, well, let's have it so that during the day, people who don't have bubonic plague can walk around and purchase things and stuff, and then and have all the people with bubonic plague quarantined. And then at night, the people with bubonic plague can come out. And a lot of them would engage in very hedonistic activities because they were like, I'm going to die. Fuck it. Let's go, like, just have, like, a giant orgy or something. A lot of them did that. Anyway. But I don't know what you think is supposed to happen when these disease outbreaks occur, when there's a new virus, a new bacteria, or something that we find that's become compatible and dangerous to human beings. I don't know what people think is supposed to happen. Even during, like, polio and the outbreak of that, the March of Dimes. I keep looking over there to make sure that the fucking internet's still connected. That seriously pisses me off. Anyway, let's continue hearing about how Trump is gonna drain. He's making a fucking swamp, is what he's doing. There's another fucking article that I have that we're gonna get into.
Advertisement. A Justice Department spokesperson acknowledged that Bondi and Gabbard were ordered by Trump to undertake a review of alleged acts of weaponization by previous administrations, but did not comment specifically on the Interagency Weaponization Working Group's activities. Reuters could not determine whether the group has powers to take any action or instruct agencies to act, or if its role is more advisory. Russia probe and Jan. 6 prosecutions were issues. The source said ODNI official Paul McNamara was a leading figure in the interagency group. McNamara is a retired U.S. Marine officer and an aide to Gabbard. Two other sources said McNamara oversees Gabbard's Directors Initiatives Group, DIG, as first reported by the Washington Post. He is among at least 10 ODNI officials associated with the interagency group, two documents show. Advertisement. McNamara did not respond to an email making a request for comment. Senators from both parties have already raised questions about the DIG's operations, with Republicans and Democrats approving a defense budget bill this month containing a measure requiring Gabbard to disclose the group's members, their roles and funding, and how they received security clearances. The source recalled the group being told that the ODNI, which oversees the 18-agency U.S. intelligence community, had begun using what they call technical tools to search an unclassified communications network for evidence of the deep state and hoped to expand.
Hold on a minute. So wait, this is an organization that has not been vetted by Congress or anything, that have unlimited access to all this stuff. Kind of like Doge was like, oh, we can just look at whatever we want, no matter, like even classified document, whatever, and like, man, what, and we don't know who these people are, we don't know what they're doing, we don't know what they're looking for, they're just, whatever. It's all cool, baby. Don't worry about it. We're not targeting Democrats. Wink, wink. Yeah. What the fuck is this shit? See, this is just such a dysfunctional government at this point. This is not what you call fucking transparency. This is not transparency. This is the opposite of that.
Its search to classified networks known as the Secure Internet Protocol Router, or SIPRNet, and the Joint Worldwide Intelligence.
But they're going after Democrats, so I'm sure a lot of right-wingers are like, yay, because Democrats just automatically the bad guy. Even if that doesn't make any fucking sense. The left is the bad guy, even if they don't have a reason why, even if it doesn't make sense.
2016 election and in compiling a 2017 multi-agency U.S. intelligence assessment that determined Moscow attempted to sway the race to Trump. Gabbard said in July that the DIG had found documents showing former President Barack Obama ordered intelligence agencies to manufacture the 2017 assessment, charges an Obama spokesperson rejected as bizarre. The 2017 assessment's conclusion was corroborated by a bipartisan Senate Intelligence Committee report released in August 2020 and by a review ordered earlier this year by CIA Director John Ratcliffe. Another focus for the interagency group was retribution for the prosecution of the January 6 rioters, said the source. Advertisement. Bondi tasked the DOJ Weaponization Working Group with reviewing the J6 prosecutions. Some of the documents seen by Reuters show that a smaller subset of employees from across the government have been convening on the topic. The Justice Department denied in its statement to Reuters that a separate January 6th group exists. Among other issues the source recalled being discussed were the Jeffrey Epstein files, the prosecutions of Trump advisors Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro, and the possibility of stripping security.
So, storming the Capitol in the way that they did, pulling out a guillotine and saying that they wanted Pence to die. So several people there died. Not just the white supremacist girl who got shot by a cop. No. There were other people that got killed by the people storming the Capitol. They got like trampled on, stomped on, shot at, and then there's the bombs that were placed at the DNC. So all that, you know, that was abusive. We shouldn't arrest people who literally broke windows and doors to get into the Capitol building while they were counting votes, and that's all cool. But man, if you stand outside of an ICE facility and hold up a sign and voice your opinion that you think this is wrong, you need to be shot in the face with like 5 pepper balls. Even if you're just a priest and you're outside of an ICE facility praying. And I mean, you could be praying for ICE people. You could be praying for the detainees. Who knows? But man, that prayer, woo, that could really fucking hurt somebody. So we need to shoot that guy in the face with 5 pepper balls. And that it is not okay to pray across the street from an ICE facility. That's not acceptable. That is violent and totally necessitates using violent force against a prayer. Because, I mean, they say prayers can move fucking mountains. So, yeah, those are real dangerous, you guys. Oh, my fucking God. But arresting January 6ers, you know, like people who actually busted out windows and doors and shit like that and wanted to murder the exiting vice president. No, that's just an abuse of power to put those people in prison who, when they got out, like tons of them had like prior convictions of like sexually assaulting minors, assaulting police officers, and doing all kinds of violent shit. But putting those people in prison, that was such an abuse of power. But it's not an abuse of power when you shoot a priest in the face for praying in front of an ICE facility, and not even being on ICE facility property, but being on public property, and being shot at from a guy on a rooftop 5 times in the face with a pepper ball. That's not an abuse of power. That's not being partisan, divisive as all fucking hell. Nope. That's normal. Totally normal to have like basically people in military gear going around cities and where people fucking live and holding military fucking grade weapons at people's faces that are just on their way to fucking work eating a fucking bagel. That's normal. That's fucking normal. What is it? What if Trump did that to very red rural areas, very Republican voting rural areas, where you see tons of Gadsden flags, tons of Confederate flags, very low population, very low wage, a lot of poverty, housing costs very low, high crime rate, you know, like somewhere like out of 100 people, like 10 out of 100 people arrested for 10 out of 100. That's the percent of the gay population. It's 1 in 10. 10 out of 100. 10%. So if you have 100 people as a population and 10 of them have been arrested for some kind of violent crime, that means 10% of your fucking population. That's a high fucking crime. That is higher than the national average of 4.5. What the fuck? So what if they started marching? You know, these militarized people shooting pepper balls into your trailers and your homes, and shooting tear gas and flash grenades at your fucking babies and burning them, where you have to, you guys would be really, the people in those areas, they would be so far away from a fucking hospital, their babies would fucking burn to death from those flash grenades. Because people's children in cities, they've been hit by these things. They get burned. They have to race them to the fucking ER, and they have scars all over their body that they'll have for the rest of their lives because of this shit. And you guys, like, these people on the right are like, yeah, woo, ICE, yeah, fuck those Democrats. As a woman is literally going into an ER, like multiple women and parents, just families, going into an ER in tears because they shot a fucking pepper ball or a smoke bomb or a flash grenade or something like that, and it hit a fucking child. That's happening. That's the thing. And people are out there going, woohoo, MAGA, my country, make America great, woo, ICE is awesome. Like, I don't understand that shit. Like, do you guys just not, like, do they just not know what is fucking happening? I think that's part of the problem. They're like, I watch Fox, that's not real. Like, well, you won't see it on Fox. You can go through social media, and the people who have to take their children to the hospital because they've been hit by these fucking military grade fucking crowd control things or whatever the fuck they were meant for. They're posting it up on their personal social medias of them having to go to the hospital because of this, and you can see the tragedy itself with your own eyes. It's not necessarily by a news media outlet. News media outlets get these videos and show them, and some of them can be kind of hard to find because these are not popular, like, social media people. They're just regular, ordinary people that put things up on social media for their friends and family. Like, they're people with a lesser social media presence than me. Okay? And they have these videos that go viral because people want to know what's going on in Portland and Chicago and DC and in California and shit. And people are like, oh my God, look at this, oh my God, like, the ICE came through, they shot like a fucking grenade thing. I don't know what kind of grenade thing that is, but it like blasted this thing of light or something, or like smoke or something, and it hit a child, and the child's like crying and got like blood and burns all over its body. The family's like fucking freaking out, like the mom and dad and the kids are rushing, trying to get in their SUV and run to the fucking hospital, but they can't get there because I saw in their way, and they're like, get back in the fucking car! Get back in the fucking driveway! And they're like, oh my God, my baby! And, yeah, they get to the ER, they save the child's life, and the child's, it's like all these fucking scars hooked up with all these tubes and shit all over it, and you can see that on their social media. These just normal, everyday people just trying to take videos of their baby and post it for friends and family, and they have a video like that go viral because people are like, oh my God, oh my God, this is bad. And you switch over and you see the duality of the realities, of the two different realities that people living in the fucking United States. These people who are like, ice, woo! You know, and like lift up your shirt and jiggle them titties and say like ice on them or something. You know, it's fucking wild. Like, no, don't be celebrating ice. What they're doing is fucked up. It's not beneficial to the American people at all. It's detrimental to the American people, regardless of who you are. I guarantee you, there are people who supported it that have been hit by this shit in these cities that either have just said, fuck the Republican Party, I'm a Democrat now, or are like, they're still Republican, but there is no way in hell they're supporting that fucking shit in office. And the whole, like, you, to any Republican that is holding on to the Republican Party and just doesn't like the Trump regime, you're gonna have to get new Republicans in office. You need to stop campaigning and electing people. Like there was this one guy, like my grandma talked to me about this. She said, she was like, are you trying to say that we should have a one-party socialist state? And I was like, no, that never mind that you don't know what socialism is. But no, I'm not saying we should have one party. Actually, I think we should have more parties. So that the left can actually be represented. And I'm sure there's libertarians that feel that way too. But no, I told her, I said that what I want is the Republicans to stop putting people in office that are insane. Like, at the time that I had this conversation with her, there was a guy that was, I think it was in Arizona, who was running for governor or mayor or something like that. I don't remember what the fuck he was running for. But he literally said that his hero, his idol, was fucking Timothy McVeigh. The guy who bombed the Oklahoma City building. It's like, why on earth would you campaign someone like that? Why would you even take that person seriously as a fucking candidate for... The moment they say that, you should be like, no. You need to go and do something else. Nah. That would be like running somebody in Democrats that... said that their fucking hero was I don't know, Mao Zedong. Like no, go do something else. Like that was like, no, we shouldn't be idolizing like mass murderers, okay, or you know, like authoritarian dickheads. Like yeah, like, so this is how the Republican Party has just been infested with this crap. Is you guys kept primarying and platforming in your local elections and stuff. These fucking lunatics. Like people who are like, I think gay people should be stoned to death. Like, how is that a fucking rational position? Like, how do you look at a person who says that and think, boy, that's so sane and rational. Let's kill people. Let's just murder them. Like and think that's sane and rational. Like, what a great policy. That'll handle our economic policy, our trade policies, our international policies, our policies with our allies and peace deals, like kill gay people or something. Like, what the fuck? That's not a position. That's not a fucking position. I keep
Clearances from
interrupting
transgender U.S. officials. Reuters could not independently confirm these were the subject of discussions. The White House official said the Epstein files have not been part of the conversation. The official also disputed Reuters' characterization of what the working group has focused on. The senior ODNI official also denied the group discussed the Epstein files, revoking security clearance for transgender officials or Bannon and Navarro's cases. Bannon did not respond to a request for comment. Navarro said his case was an example of Biden's weaponization of government. Many people involved have been vocal Trump backers. The 5 documents pertaining to the interagency group indicate the
Biden weaponized the government. How? What did Biden do that weaponized the government? Because I mean, I remember when Biden was in office, and Biden is not my I've said this before. I could make a video on all my critiques of Biden. I could. I have critiques of Biden. There's things that I think Biden and Kamala could have done a lot better. There's things I wish they would have done that they didn't do. There are things. But, you know what we didn't have under Biden's administration? We didn't have a militarized fucking police surveillance state. There weren't people in military outfits with guns and shit wandering around the fucking streets terrorizing fucking people. We weren't bombing Venezuelan fishermen. We had, you know what we had? Remember when we had due process? Remember that? That was nice. Don't have that anymore. Kind of weird. And I know so many people like to say, oh, there's attacks on free speech, blah, 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 being canceled, censorship, blah, 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 blah. Look, no, what is it that you want to say? What do you want to say? You want to say the F word for, like a bundle of sticks, a cigarette. You want to say the N word. You want to say the S word for, Hispanic people. You say the C word for people from China, although that's applied to various places in Asia that have nothing to do with China. And seemingly people of that type of thinking forget that India is a part of Asia and have a completely different thing for Indian people. What is it that you guys want to say? Because the thing is it's like, look, there are businesses that don't want you to be saying that. They don't want that kind of shit. They won't want to be associated with that kind of shit. Including these social media platforms. But a lot of these people, it's like, well, you have said that. I just watched a fucking video the other day. There's this video going around of a fucking... some guy, I've never heard of this fucking guy, saying that all Christians should be comfortable with the idea of slavery and owning human beings. Okay, he said it. Is he getting canceled? Are there a bunch of people pissed off that he said it? Oh, sure, definitely. Most definitely. He's not getting canceled. Like Joe Rogan and fucking Dave Chappelle and all these comedians, they've never been canceled. They hold shows that pack fucking stadiums, and you guys are all like, oh, they've been canceled. Their free speech has been stripped of them. As they're saying this in a mainstream auditorium where they literally went through a third-party multi-conglomerate corporation to sell tickets for and sold out to all the right-wing people that wanted to clamor and hear how they've been silenced. And so this is like a full auditorium filled to the brim. And they stand in front of this massive audience and say, my free speech has been taken from me by this government. And then they make it into a Netflix special and it airs on fucking Netflix or fucking Amazon Prime. Because they've been censored. That's what happens when you get censored. You get a Netflix special. You pack an entire auditorium that has to fucking schedule you in and sell tickets. And they get posted up on Amazon Prime and sell it to people. Sell your little fucking soapbox diatribe speech thing about you not having free speech. I'm going to check something really quick. I want to make sure this is still streaming because I don't trust this damn internet. Okay. It says good, excellent condition. Okay, very good. Very, very good. Okay. Back. Oh well, whatever. How much latency does that thing have? That's a lot of latency. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna go on to the next article. Okay. This is one. Ecuador says it has no evidence that survivor of a U.S. strike in the Caribbean committed any crime. What did I tell you? The survivor of the U.S. strike on a submersible vessel accused by the Trump administration of transporting drugs in the Caribbean was released by authorities as Ecuador after prosecutors said they had no evidence he committed a crime in the South American nation, a government official said. The official, who asked to be identified because they were not authorized to speak on the matter, told the Associated Press that the Ecuadorian man, identified as Andres Fernando Tufino, was in good health after medical evaluations. A document from the Ecuadorian government obtained by Associated Press said there is no evidence or indication that could lead prosecutors or judicial authorities to be certain of any violation of current laws by Tufino. Associated Press requested comment from the Attorney General's office, but did not immediately receive a response. Of course you wouldn't, from fucking Pam Bondi head. The man was repatriated by the United States over the weekend following a U.S. military attack on a submersible vessel suspected of transporting drugs in the Caribbean. The Colombian citizen also survived the attack and remains hospitalized after being repatriated to that country. U.S. military personnel rescued both men after destroying the submersible on Thursday. Trump said on social media that U.S. intelligence confirmed the vessel was carrying mostly fentanyl and other illegal drugs. And so, like, Donald Trump can just tweet whatever the fuck he wants. Just like, oh, they had a bunch of illegal DeLoreans. I don't know, whatever and people just buy it up and see this is the problem. Is like he has to make shit up now because no, they don't have any. There's no fentanyl or other illegal drugs and like I don't know about fentanyl, but I like the idea of other illegal drugs coming into the country. Drugs are fine. There's nothing wrong with drugs. There is little evidence to, especially LSD and shrooms. Oh my God, please allow LSD and shrooms into this country. There is little evidence to indicate that fentanyl is produced in the Andes, as the vast majority of it flows into the U.S. through Mexico. There's other ways it gets in here, but I'm not telling. Trump said that 2 people on board were killed and the 2 survivors were being repatriated to their home countries for detention and prosecution. The attack on the submersible was at least the 6th of its kind since September. See, the reason why they had to let them go and gave them reparations is because there was no evidence of drugs. But we're not going to talk about that. Was reported over the weekend, bringing the total deaths from the attacks to at least 32. The strikes have set off tensions in the region, particularly between Trump, Venezuela, and Colombia. Once one of the American government's tightest allies in the Western Hemisphere, the Colombian government said its survivor will be prosecuted according to the law for alleged drug trafficking. It noted the man was seriously wounded. Colombia's government said Monday that it had recalled its ambassador to the United States following an increasingly angry back and forth between its president, Gustavo Petro, and Trump over the strikes. Tensions increased Sunday when Trump called Petro an illegal drug dealer. He called a fucking political and a lunatic after Petro accused the U.S. government of killing a Colombian citizen in a September 16th strike on a boat the U.S. said was allegedly carrying drugs. And there's no evidence that they were carrying drugs, and we did kill innocent civilians. So it's just true. Meanwhile, Ecuador's conservative president, Daniel Nobio, said Monday in a message on X addressed to the U.S. Counterpart, President Trump, Ecuador remains firm in the global fight against drug trafficking. I bet you Ecuador is exporting fucking drugs. He's just like, no, we love this stuff, Trump. You are doing great. The war on drugs is beautiful. Can we come into your country? Great. Don't worry, they're just TVs. They're not packed full of fentanyl or anything like that. Or heroin or, whatever. God. He added that such challenges require unity amongst nations committed to peace and prosperity. Trump has justified the action, saying the United States is engaged in an armed conflict against drug cartels. He has relied on the same legal reasoning used by George W. Bush administration when it declared war on terrorism after the September 11, 2001 attacks. This is worse. I think this is worse. I mean, terrorism is basically when you say there's a war on terrorism, you're declaring a war on some kind of ideological, subjective principle, which is a very bizarre thing to do. But we actually did literally have an attack on our soil with people with hostile intentions to take other people's lives who are innocent civilians that have nothing to do with any of it. And, people died. So, like, understanding that wanting justice from that is understandable. But this is just like, we're killing innocent civilians because we think they have drugs, because we think America has, since the 1920s, since it started this shit, has just been taught to see drug use is the same as, like, beating a baby in the head with a fucking rock. And it's like, no, it's just people. You know how, like, when you drink a cup of coffee and you're putting nicotine in your body and that gives you energy, or you're smoking a cigarette and you're putting nicotine in your body and that gives you energy, or sugar or chocolate and how it makes you feel good. That's essentially what drugs are. It's a molecular structure found in some kind of plant material or something like that, and we can concentrate it and stuff like that into things like cocaine or crack or heroin or something like that. And then we take that substance, a drug, or that molecular structure like LSD-25, and then we put it into our bodies. We smoke it, we snort it, we put it into our vein, whatever, or just eat it, and it makes us feel fun. It feels good. We like it, and that's all it is. I mean, and somehow America has gotten to a point where, because Americans are so stuck up and flat and plastic and boring and such moral busybodies, and they get bored and they have nothing to do, so they have to go around and dictate to other people what they do in their lives. That a lot of Americans just seem to think that doing drugs is the same thing as beating a baby in the head with a fucking rock. Politico: ICE is hiring dozens of health workers as lawsuits. Deaths in custody mount. Oh, super cool. Look at this butt. Look at this man's butt right there. Look at his butt. Anyway, the Trump administration is expanding its ranks of health care. Hold on just a second. There's something missing. There we go. Have that open. Stuff. Actually, man, we're gonna. I'm sick and tired of getting this wrong. We're gonna go to the there we go. Gonna go to this one, and then we're gonna do this.
Involvement of at least 39 current and former officials from across the government. In one document written before a spring gathering of the interagency.
No. That's the previous article. AI lady.
ICE is hiring dozens of health workers as lawsuits, deaths in custody mount.
There we go.
The Trump administration is expanding its ranks of healthcare providers who work in immigration detention centers around the country as deaths in custody mount and federal oversight is weakened by layoffs. The push by the Department of Homeland Security to hire more than 40 doctors, nurses, psychiatrists, pharmacists, and health administrators follows the revelation that nearly as many immigrants have died in custody so far this year than over the course of the Biden administration, according to government records. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement has reported 20 detainee deaths in custody since President Donald Trump took office, the most in a single year in decades compared to 24 deaths in the Biden administration. The 2025 figure was provided by the Office of Representative Pramila D-Wash, the ranking member on the House subcommittee overseeing DHS. The overall death rate is lower given that the number of detained immigrants is at a record high. Advertisement. The detention centers, which currently hold more than 60,000 people, are overcrowded, and the use of hastily constructed facilities like tent cities makes it easier, public health officials said, for communicable diseases to spread and more difficult to manage chronic illnesses. At the same time, oversight of the centers has eroded, as layoffs hit the Homeland Security offices investigating allegations of abuse and neglect, and lawmakers attempting to visit facilities in their districts are turned away. Frequent transfers of migrants between states have also disrupted medical treatments and allowed prescriptions and other records to be lost in transit. Migrants have died in recent months of infections, COVID-19, injuries, uncontrolled diabetes, and suicide, according to government reports. The Department of Homeland Security did not respond to several questions about staffing plans, deaths in detention, and accusations of medical neglect. In a recent New York court filing responding to a lawsuit by the ACLU, the agency argued that it provides adequate food, clothing, shelter, and medical care to individuals in custody and that all medication, whether brought by the detainee or later, is received by the ICE Health Service Corps and administered according to proper medical procedures. Independent watchdog groups that track healthcare access for detained migrants dispute those claims but say increasing the healthcare workforce could help prevent further deaths by reducing delays in the dispensing of medications and ensuring a more thorough intake process that gathers detainees' medical histories to avoid future emergencies. Advertisement. Yet Jonathan White, a retired commander in the U.S. Public Health Service Corps who oversaw the detention of undocumented, unaccompanied minors during the first Trump administration, said that without more fundamental policy changes, people will continue to get sick and die. The larger problem is that this is a system to abduct and detain people without meaningful due process, he said. That is inherently harmful and cannot be made humane or healthy or safe no matter how many people you throw at it. More detainees, less oversight. Earlier this year, the Department of Homeland Security tried to eliminate its offices that investigate complaints of discrimination, neglect, and mistreatment of detainees. The Office for Civil Rights and Civil Liberties, the Citizenship and Immigration Services Ombudsman and the Immigration Detention Ombudsman, calling them internal adversaries that slow down operations. DHS accused the oversight staff of adding bureaucratic hurdles and undermining the department's mission. After human rights groups sued, the offices were restored in May, but hundreds of their staff were laid off a few months later as part of a government-wide reduction in force, hobbling oversight efforts. An ongoing lawsuit seeks to bring the fired workers back. Advertisement. Trump also fired the independent inspectors general that investigated claims regarding the conditions of detention centers. Rebecca Wolf, staff attorney with the Immigration Justice Campaign and Policy Department of the American Immigration Council, which represents immigrants in detention, said healthcare in ICE detention centers has always had problems. But now, she said, there's less transparency and accountability. I have a client right now who has untreated diabetes. They just stopped giving her medicine, she said. And so we're like, hey, detention center, why'd you stop giving this medicine? And there's just no response. The ACLU and Detention Watch Network, two advocacy groups that focus on conditions for migrants, report that medical neglect is the most common complaint they hear from clients in ICE custody. Immigrants at the Louisiana State Penitentiary and California City Detention Facility launched hunger strikes in September, in part to protest poor access to medical care and mental health care, including difficulty accessing diabetes medication and receiving treatment for injuries. In August, in response to a class action lawsuit in New York City, a judge ordered ICE to allow migrants to keep prescription medications they had on them when they were detained or that family members brought to detention centers. And in early October, a detainee in Michigan with chronic myeloid leukemia sued the Trump administration, saying his chemotherapy was suspended for several weeks after being detained, risking serious complications. Advertisement. Some Democratic lawmakers are introducing legislation to address the deaths in custody. John Paul partly attributes the reports of poor medical care to Trump tapping private prison companies to handle immigration detention centers while eroding government oversight. She plans to introduce a bill to mandate that all ICE facilities are run by federal employees, arguing that would help curb self-dealing and profit-seeking at the expense of detainees' quality of care. Now, with the massive increases in money that are going out, the firing of all the inspector generals and the corruption within the system, she said. I mean, you've got Tom Homan accepting bags of cash, she added, referring to allegations that Trump's border czar took a $50,000 bribe from undercover FBI agents last year. Homan has denied that he took a bribe from federal agents, and the Justice Department reportedly shut down the investigation into the incident. I didn't take $50,000 from anybody, Homan said in a Wednesday night appearance on News Nation's Cuomo Town Hall. Stabbing up. The healthcare-related job openings include posts at some of the detention centers where deaths have been reported and where watchdog groups have alleged unsafe conditions and medical neglect, including a facility in Genoa, Louisiana, where multiple foreign students have been detained, as well as centers in Eloy and Florence, Arizona. Advertisement. Most of the people providing health services to ICE detainees are private contractors, but the new jobs are open only to current members of the U.S. Public Health Service Corps, one of the country's 8 uniformed services made up of roughly 6,000 public health and medical professionals. These commissioned officers frequently work jobs that are difficult to fill with civilian health care providers, including at rural Indian health service clinics, prisons, and ICE detention facilities. If ICE doesn't get enough applications for the jobs, said White, public health officers could be ordered to deploy there temporarily or permanently. But he said avoidable deaths are likely to continue even with a few dozen more medical personnel because the detainee population is swelling by the tens of thousands and is being held in worse conditions with less oversight. He voiced particular concern about an uptick in self-harm and suicide. Compared to the population that is traditionally seen in the immigration system, the level of trauma and psychological distress of those caught up in this new abduction machine will be much greater, he said. These people are proportionally much more likely to have the most severe psychological reaction to being removed, because they have many years in this country, roots in their communities, and U.S. national children who they're being separated from. A 2024 report by the ACLU, Physicians for Human Rights, and American Oversight, based on thousands of pages of government documents obtained through the Freedom of Information Act, argued that more than 90% of deaths in ICE custody could have been prevented with better medical care. The report documents several instances of ICE health workers giving incorrect diagnoses, prescribing medication to people with contraindications, and delaying treatment during heart attacks, suicide attempts, and other emergencies. The report examined the deaths of 52 people in ICE custody from 2017 to 2021, covering Trump's first term and the first year of Biden's presidency. Advertisement. The lack of medical staffing is a consistent theme, but far from the only issue, said Eunice Cho, a senior counsel for the ACLU who has worked on several lawsuits related to conditions in ICE detention. Specialist care is denied. People are transferred from place to place before they're able to actually get their care. People are not given medication. Human rights groups are also concerned that deaths may be uncounted. There is no standardized way in which ICE reports on deaths. It is quite possible that people have died and no one knows, said Anthony Enriquez, Vice President of U.S. Advocacy and Litigation at Robert F. Kennedy Human Rights, which is suing DHS alongside the Immigration Council and the ACLU, among other groups. Enriquez said that families of migrants who died in detention have spoken out about death before ICE has publicly accounted for it. As ICE works to fill the new medical jobs, the agency's surge in detentions is far outpacing its expansion of detention capacity. The administration aims to hold up to 100,000 people per day, and as the federal government increasingly houses migrants in tents and converted local jails heading into flu season, advocates and investigators are worried. My greatest fear is that we are going to continue to see the number of people who unfortunately die as a result of being held in immigration detention grow, Cho said.
Well, okay. I didn't hear most of that because it was apparently really, really important to be able to get the chat so that I could interact and see it more properly. It doesn't show up on the screen still. What the fuck is this? Go back. But like on the thing in the corner here, it doesn't show up there, and I've got the right plugin for it on the software, but for some reason I can only access the chat through the pop-up chat window or on my phone. Not technical difficulties on my end. I don't know what the hell YouTube did to make it to where that's a thing, because like literally on my end I could type it into the chat bubble, and I mean, I showed you the screenshot, Cassandra. I showed it to you. Where, like, on my end, it said, like, hello, can you see this? And it didn't show any of your comments at all. So, like, I don't know how YouTube configured things to where that was even possible, but it did. So I guess that was really important that we did that. So I have no idea what was just in that article of Politico. Hopefully you guys were paying attention. Yeah, here it is. At some point, the chat got disconnected way before I even started the stream, I think, is when it did this. So, whatever. Yeah, there we go. Can we go on to the next article now? Did you pay attention to it, Cassandra? What is happening with this? So there's deaths and lawsuits and health problems. What happened? Can you tell me what I missed? I'll wait. Should I play it again? I won't play it again. I'll just I'll read it later. And moving on to this, again, You know, like the people who just, what the fuck is this shit? Shoes that can walk on water? What a waste of fucking money. Don't buy this. You don't need it. Just swim. Anyway. Oh, you can see it on the screen now too. I don't see it on the screen. I only see it here. I can do it here. Let me go to that too. I don't like having my phone open to toggle between. I was trying to make it so that I could interact with the chat. Without having to have my phone open during the live stream because it drains the living shit out of my battery. So after the live stream is done, it's like I can't use my phone for anything because it basically turns off because it doesn't have any battery life left. So I think if it had not disconnected before I even went live, I think it'd be fine. But I'm not that concerned about it. I'm not gonna hyperfixate it on it. I want to go on to the next article. I'm not that concerned about whether or not I can see the chat. It's great that I can interact with you guys. So I don't know. I'm going on to this article now because like I've been doing the live stream now for like almost 2 hours. I've gone through several articles. So I'm going on to this one. I will read the ICE one later. I missed it. I was too busy trying to figure out the text thing. I would like to move on now though to the article. No, I don't know. It was just some advertisement. You do know too, Cassandra. There is a massive latency. Like when you're hearing me talking, whatever I'm saying, I said like a minute ago. So like I'm looking at your comment. What, so people can be Jesus now, walk on water? Okay, I was commenting on that like almost 2 minutes ago. So massive latency, and this is the actual like chat window for the live stream, not through the software or anything like that, but the actual through Facebook. So there's massive latency. Trump demolishes part of White House for new ballroom. Because you know we really like this is what I'm like. Trump people, MAGA people, is like they can't sit here and tell me that they care about this country's history, about the founders, of any of this shit. Trump's fucking wrecking the goddamn White House. He's destroying a historical fucking artifact, basically. Donald Trump has to make it what, like fucking Glendale. God damn. The next thing we're going to hear that he's installing a McDonald's in where like in the wing that Abraham Lincoln built or some shit. Donald Trump has often been dubbed a political wrecking ball. That's an under-fucking statement. For his unorthodox, if that's what you want to, if that's, I guess, whatever the kids are fucking calling it these days, I guess. Damn it. There we go. And now the U.S. president has literally started demolition work on the White House. Work crews began tearing down part of the East Wing on Monday as the former property mogul said work had formally commenced on a huge new $250 million ballroom. A mechanical excavator had ripped through the facade of the East Wing, leaving a tangle of broken masonry, rubble and steel wires. AFP journalists at the scene. I don't know why. I mean, I kind of know why journalists do that, but like I don't need to read the part where it says APS journalists at the scene saw. Like we know that already, and I'm getting really fucking thirsty, and it's getting hard to read this shit, so I'm going back to this so I can go get something to drink. And we're going back to this lady's
Trump demolishes
voice.
part of White House for new ballroom.
Hold on, where am I? We're at the right here.
Republican Trump said as he hosted college baseball players at the White House on Monday that right on the other side you have a lot of construction that you might hear occasionally. The 79-year-old billionaire later officially announced that work had started on the ballroom, the biggest addition to the U.S. presidential mansion in more than a century. I am pleased to announce that ground has been broken on the White House grounds to build the new, big, beautiful White House ballroom, Trump said on his Truth Social network. Trump said the East Wing was being fully modernized as part of this process, and will be more beautiful than ever when it is complete. Advertisement. The East Wing is where U.S. First Ladies have traditionally had their offices. The President works in the West Wing and the couple live in the Executive Mansion. Generous patriots. But while Trump said that the East Wing is completely separate from the White House itself, it is in fact physically joined to the main mansion by a covered colonnade. More in politics.
Fox News' Laura Ingraham, who scrutinized Hunter Biden's business dealings, just quietly went into business with Donald Trump Jr.
Okay, we don't need to hear that. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. This is... Let's see what people have to say. What do other people have to say? Maybe there's a MAGA person down there that's like, oh, I like it because it'll be beautiful. I don't know. Renovating buildings, buying private jets, giving away billions to Argentina and other countries. All this while our health insurance premiums are about to double or triple. And you're out of pocket. They don't mention that, but that too. And grocery prices keep climbing. The worst part is we're only 10 months in. Oh, God, that hurt reading that. This is another reason why I want drugs into the country. Like, we need drugs right now real bad. I mean, don't do drugs. They're bad for you. But if you do already do drugs and you don't care, like, being sober right now, woo, fuck that. No, fuck that noise. Like, we're going to get fucked up because America is burning. Girl, ugh. Cringeworthy for sure. Don't forget his birthday parade while you're at it. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That costs the taxpayers like billions of dollars because they tore up the fucking street. Wow, it normally takes years to go through the design and permit process for a project, especially an historic property. That's a really good point. How does Trump just come up with these plans for a ballroom in a matter of 10 months? Like, if we give him the credit that he's been thinking about putting a ballroom in the White House for 10 months? How do you just poop out the entire details of a blueprint for contractors to literally start building this in 10 months? Given that he's been thinking about it since he stepped into office. Where the fuck did this come from? That's actually a really good point. I didn't think about that. I'm going to read that again. Wow. It normally takes years to go through the design and permit process for a project, especially We're going to say on a historic property. Doesn't sound legit to me at all. That's a very interesting point. Trump is creating monuments to himself. Yeah, no shit. Every dictator does that. It is obscene to spend this kind of money for a ballroom when people don't have money for health care. Yeah, we heard this from somebody who commented above. But Trump still has supporters that are like, yeah, this is fine. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be great. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck. Yeah, what do MAGA people think of the ballroom? That's what I'm wondering, Cassandra. Maybe hold on. Maybe we can look it up. Let me see something. What do MAGA people? It's like they're just a different type of fucking people. We're finally speciating or enough in the human species to create different breeds. You have regular humans, and then you have MAGA humans. It has nothing to do with the color of your skin or anything like that. It's all ideological. It's how the brain functions, how you view the world, apparently. What do MAGA people think about Trump's ballroom addition to the White House? See, this is why I don't type. My fingers are too fucking numb and stiff. I can't feel them. There's like tons of typos. It sucks. That took me a long time to type. What do MAGA people think about Trump's ballroom addition to the White House? Wait, that's why I don't like typing. Let's see. Let's look for short videos. Let's see if here. I'm gonna go to so you all can see this. I know he's doing this for self-serving purposes, but I really think these images always remember they're just old building. Symbols are only as powerful as we make them. I want to know, is this guy MAGA? I don't think he is. Stupid fucking no sound. Too many pop-up things. Stop it.
That no one asked for. This is a picture of the East Wing of the White House, which began demolition today to build Trump's $250 million ballroom that no one asked for. This is important because, according to the plans, the existing White House would not be demolished, would have zero interference, and withhold its historical stature. But I guess there are HOAs which are harder to get through than it is to demolish an historical building like the White House. Mind you, this ballroom is being built in a gaudy, very ugly Trump style, just like he destroyed the Oval Office. And this is going to be built, and he's building it like he's not going to not be the president in 3 years. And this is not the only works project. He's building a Trump arc, like an Arc de Triomphe across from the Lincoln Memorial. And he's doing all this stuff while the government is closed, while we're out here detaining people left and right. ICE agents are getting paid, but the military isn't getting paid.
This guy is not MAGA. Does he have MAGA people in his comments? No, this guy, that guy's not MAGA. This is one of those topics that we can just throw again on the fire of shit. No right-wing political commentator or anything is even going. We're not going to talk about it. Nope. We're not even going to talk about it. The left is horrible, terrible, bad Democrats, evil. Biden was a dictator. Trump's not for some fucking reason. LGBTQIA plus people bad, and BIPOC is bad, and women being able to do what they want just like men can is bad. We're not going to talk about the survivors from blowing up the boats and the fact that there's no fucking drugs. We're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about the $40 billion we gave to Javier Milei because this anarchical capitalism doesn't work. We're not going to talk about that, how it's completely tore up their country and economy just like economists predicted it would, and now we're giving $40 billion. We're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about buying Argentinian beef because Javier Milei destroyed their economy with libertarian philosophy. We're not going to talk about that. We're not. The only people who talk about the farmers' grief and everything of what's going on is the left, and the right wing is not going to talk about it, but the left is the one that needs to have sympathy. We're not going to talk about that. And we're not going to talk about Trump wanting to destroy a historical monument to build a fucking goddamn ballroom that cost a ton of money that somehow he was able to come up with the blueprints and everything for within 10 fucking months. In the words of Jesse Lee Peterson. Wow. Amazing. Oh, okay. So I guarantee. So I'm gonna be I just a gentleman's bet here, but I'm gonna put a bet out. Just willing to bet. I'm thinking that's a better way to put it. I'm thinking you are not going to see any MAGA supporter, any right wing. I mean, you know, because the Republic, it's hard to say everyone on the right wing is a MAGA supporter because the right wing has been fractionalized. You have the Never Trumpers, you have the Lincoln Project. You apparently Professor Rainbows from what fucking channel does he run? What fucking channel does Professor Rainbows run? We gonna find out. Hold on just a second. Powered by Rainbows. There we go. That Professor Rainbow guy from Powered by Rainbows. He is a fiscal conservative. And he cannot fucking stand Trump. So, which I don't know what to say at this point. It's like people with positions like yours is how we got someone like Trump. I mean, stop doing it. Again, fix the Republican. We don't have time to argue with these people. We need to lockstep save our fucking democracy. Yeah, but anyway, no one who does support Trump. That's the point. The MAGAs. There's going to be. I'm thinking no MAGA person anywhere on social media is going to comment or say anything about the ballroom. And Cassandra, to the point that you just made, pressed to it, I guarantee you he would try to find a way to try to defend it somehow. And it would come out all funky because no other right-wing commentator, like big one like Ben Shapiro or something like that, has prepped with a talking point to address that. It has said, oh, we defend it for blah 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 reason. And so any MAGA that does try to defend it, it's going to be like, well, I think it's a good thing. It's updating stuff. What about all the money that we're spending? Well, the governments always spend money, but I thought you wanted to be the party of less spending. Yeah, it just turns into that kind of shit. But I bet you if they're not pressed, no MAGA is going to say anything about the ballroom unless they're pressed, and they're going to avoid it. Watch. Nobody. This ballroom shit is just going to go unmentioned, unchecked by anyone in MAGA, and it's going to come to pass, and we're just going to have a fucking ballroom someday that costs the taxpayers a lot of fucking money. Wait, what is this one about? U.S. appeals court says Trump can take command of Oregon troops, though deployment blocked for now. Portland, Oregon, Associated Press, and appeals court on Monday put on hold a lower court ruling that kept President Donald Trump from taking command of 200 Oregon National Guard troops. However, Trump is still barred from actually deploying those troops, at least for now. I can either have that or have my buttons. I need my buttons, so that's just not going to be able to see the chat very well. I need my buttons. U.S. District Judge Karen, a Trump appointee, issued 2 temporary restraining orders early this month. One that prohibited Trump from calling up the troops so he could send them to Portland, and another that prohibited him from sending any National Guard members to Oregon at all after the president tried to evade the first order by deploying California troops instead. The Justice Department appealed the first order, and in a 21 ruling Monday on from the 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, sided with the administration. The majority said the president was likely to succeed in his claim that he had the authority to federalize the troops based on a determination he was unable to enforce the laws without them. Enforce what fucking laws? Like, I swear, the premise of his position is that of basically a utopian society. Like, he's not going to be satisfied unless the crime rate is fucking 0, which doesn't exist anywhere throughout history. There's no tribe, no civilization, no group of human beings anywhere throughout the world, throughout history, throughout time that had zero crime rates and was completely clean and sober and only had sex within the context of marriage to reproduce. You will find no such group of human beings anywhere, world over, throughout history. Doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. So I don't know what Trump is looking for. What rules? What is he talking about? Just the normal United States rules? The other thing, too, as praxis, California could have absolutely been like, yeah, we'll send our troops down there, and then go and tell the troops like, hey man, Trump is fucking insane and he's a dictator and stuff. He wants you guys to be like federalized or something. Go to Portland, Oregon, and fuck with people. Just go down there and tell him, maybe get some photo op stuff, make it look like you're fucking with people, and just do it so like you can tell Trump that we fucked with people, but don't actually do it. And we'll just tell him that we did, and then come back and be like, oh yeah, like everybody is so shaped up, yeah, and just tell him what he wants to hear. That's a form of practice that could have been deployed there. Could have happened. Somebody could have thought of that. However, Murga's second order remains in effect, so no troops may immediately be deployed. The administration has said that because the legal reasoning underpinning both temporary restraining orders was the same, the second one was also invalid, and the majority opinion also said that the two TROs rise or fall together. Soon after the ruling Monday, Justice Department asked Murga to immediately dissolve her second order, which would allow Trump to deploy troops to Portland. The Justice Department argued that is not the role of the courts to second-guess the president's determination about when to deploy the troops. No, that is actually kind of one of their roles, is to determine if things are constitutionally legal for a president to do or not. That absolutely is something the courts are supposed to do. And remember due process, everybody. Remember that? Oh, man. Good times. When you were innocent before, like innocent until proven guilty. Remember that? Remember you had to prove guilt? Man. Good times. Remember when a president could be held accountable for their actions if they committed, war crimes and stuff? Like, remember that? Yeah, we don't do any of that anymore. The Ninth Circuit's decision staying the first TRO is a significant change in law that plainly warrants dissolution of this court's second TRO. The administration, administration lawyers wrote. Oregon Attorney General Dan Redfield, a Democrat, said he would ask for a broader panel of the appeals to reconsider the decision. Today's ruling, if allowed to stand, would give the president unilateral power to put Oregon soldiers on our street with almost no justification. And we're just going to, like, again, we're going to pretend like it's fucking normal for a president to... How many fucking presidents have done that? I mean, you could go back to, like, 1700s, like the War for Independence, when we were, I don't know, fighting the British government, the British royalty, the king. Maybe possibly the Civil War. where literally the country was at war with itself. But he trying to act like we that. I don't know, like. Why would we give the president unilateral power? Why would we do that? Why is this normal? Why is this being normalized? Why what? How is this okay? We're not going to talk about it. We're not going to talk about it. Nope. We are on a dangerous path in America. That we are. We are losing our democracy to fascism. The Justice Department did not return an email seeking comment. Trump's efforts to deploy National Guard troops in Democratic-led cities have been mired in legal challenges. A judge in California ruled that his deployment of thousands of National Guard troops in Los Angeles violated the Posse Comitatus Act, a long-standing law that generally prohibits the use of the military for civilian policing, and the administration on Friday asked the U.S. Supreme Court to allow the deployment of National Guard troops in Chicago area. Let's be honest, it's just because he does not like anyone who... I mean, is basically to the left of him. Like I don't know, anyone who votes Democrat, and definitely anyone to the left of Democrats. Pepperidge Farmer. I guess I don't know. I'll read that here in a second. Mostly small nightly protesters limited to a single block have been occurring since June outside the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement building in Portland. Large crowds, including counter-protesters and live streamers, have shown up at times, and federal agents have used tear gas to disperse the demonstrators. Oops, that's the wrong button. The administration has said the troops are needed to protect federal property from protesters and that having to send extra Department of Homeland Security agents to help guard the property meant they were not enforcing immigration laws elsewhere. The judge previously rejected the administration's arguments, saying the president's claims about Portland being war-torn are simply untethered to the facts, untethered to reality. It's okay. But the appeals court majority, Ryan Nelson and Bridget Bade, both Trump appointees, of course, said the president's decision was owed more deference. Of course, Trump could literally, like slaughter a fucking human baby, take its guts out and slurp them up like it's spaghetti noodles, and these people that Trump has appointed, these judges, would be like, no, you have to understand it in context, and people would be like, hey, it's part of his medical condition or something. He needs to eat baby intestines to survive and live, because he's God or something. I don't fucking know at this point. Like, I really think that he could get away with this shit. This is wild shit. Bade wrote that the facts appeared to support Trump's decision. No, they don't. Even if the president may exaggerate the extent of the problem on social media. Oh, he's done far more. This is not like mild exaggeration. This is like getting a splinter and going like, I have a boo-boo. Let me see. Oh, it's just a splinter. This is like, oh my God, my fucking arm got chopped off. And it's like, what are you talking about? Look. And it's like a splinter. That's the level of exaggeration we're seeing here. Judge Susan Garber, an appointee of former President Bill Clinton appointee, dissented. She urged her colleagues on the Ninth Circuit to vacate the majority's order before the illegal deployment of troops under false pretenses can occur. I really think they just need to stop being civil and just be like, no. You're in I don't care. No. Just no. We're not doing that. In the 2 weeks leading up to the president's September 27th social media post, there had not been a single incident of protesters disrupting the execution of the laws. Garber wrote. It is hard to understand how a tiny protest causing no disruptions could possibly justify the standard that the president is unable to execute the laws. Like what fucking laws is he trying to execute at this point? Like, seriously. Now I'm gonna, let's see what is most likely be bots. Nope, and it will never exist. I don't know what that's. Praxis, yes. Pepper Ridge Farms, remember. So, okay. I think it's Pepperidge Farms. Yeah. We don't. I don't know. It's all nuts. And then this is the last article I have for today, and I'm sorry, I've literally been on this for like 2 fucking hours, man. Will SNAP benefits be affected by the government shutdown? 40 million Americans could miss out if stalemate continues. And let's be clear, it's not a stalemate. The Democrats are sitting up there saying, we are totally willing to reopen the fucking government. We are sitting up here waiting for you to come and sit down and fucking talk to us, but you won't fucking talk to us because you don't want us to release the fucking Epstein files, and you want us to completely cut fucking ACA, which will cause people's fucking health care to mind-blowingly go through, like just skyrocket in price, to where like basically healthcare will become like dentistry. It's like people don't go to the dentist anymore because nobody can afford that shit, and that's just how it be. Healthcare will get so terrible in this country, worse than we've ever seen it before, if the Republicans get their fucking way on that shit. And also, people are already experiencing hang-ups with their Social Security disability income payments. They're late, and some are just being told no, because of the shutdown, because they have to wait or something like that. It's already affecting people on SSI, SSDI, and retirement. So that's fun. More than 40 million Americans are at risk of losing critical food assistance benefits next month because of the government shutdown. States across the country have started warning that payments through the Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program will not be distributed as scheduled on November 1st if Congress fails to reopen the government before the end of the month. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rowland said last week that there are not enough funds to provide SNAP benefits to keep the program operating as long as the shutdown continues. I wonder why that is. Could it be that we cut a bunch of shit from social safety nets when Elon Musk was, playing around in the White House like it was a toy? So you're talking about millions and millions of vulnerable families and hungry families that are not going to have access to these programs because of this shutdown. Individual states operate their own SNAP programs, but 100% of the funding for food assistance comes from the federal government. Several states have issued notices saying they will not be able to distribute SNAP benefits at the beginning of next month. SNAP is a proven, time-tested program, one that protects children and families from going hungry. Deluz Quintero, Secretary of the Illinois Department of Health, wrote in a statement, "The federal government needs to ensure families receive their benefits on November 1st so their livelihoods are not disrupted. Texas, West Virginia, and Pennsylvania are among the states that have also said SNAP benefits will not go out if the shutdown is still in effect. Other states, including New Jersey, have instead said that the status of benefits is unclear at this point." So here's the thing. One of the things I find interesting reading this is it totally makes sense that blue states would make it easier to, because absolutely these social safety nets work differently from state to state. The state that I live in, the state of Kansas, is one of the hardest states in the entire United States to get any kind of social safety net at all. Be that SNAP, HUD, hell, even disability is affected because of the types of judges you have access to. They're all conservative judges, and they all just fucking hate Americans unless they're white, cis het, and a fucking male. But what I find strange is that there's these red states, and it's so popular in red states, it's so popular amongst Republican voters to just despise and loathe the ever-loving shit out of any kind of social safety program that exists. And what's funny is that I've talked to them, and they don't realize that a lot of people do not understand how the system fucking works at all. But like people from like Texas and other southern states have talked to me that are right-wing people. They vote Republican. And they tell me, oh, socialism, it's bad, it's terrible, we shouldn't do it. And I'm like, well, we should, but that's a different thing. But anyway, they're like, when I talk to them about like the disability and the struggles and everything like that, they're like, why don't you get, food stamps, food assistance? I don't qualify. Because getting help with paying bills. So like, what do they call it? It's not billing assistance. We'll just call it billing assistance. It's not called that. It's called something else. But you can also get rent assistance. You can get your energy bill subsidized. You can get what is it? Medicaid, Medicare. I get them mixed up all the fucking time. One of them is for people who are retired or older, and the other is for people who are under a certain like in a certain like financial situation where healthcare is unaffordable. And I get the two mixed up all the time. They just sound so similar. They come from they might as well just not have two different ones. Like honestly, like Medicaid, Medicare, it might as well just be one that does it for both. But apparently that's not, they didn't want to do that. One of them actually gives better benefits, which is the one for the retired elderly people, than the one for disabled people or poor people. But anyway, these people in these southern states, they're like, well, I don't understand why you don't get it. I live in a Republican red state, so they act like that's the reason why it is so easy for them to access rent assistance, billing assistance, subsidizing their utilities, getting Medicaid, Medicare, getting food stamps and disability and all that. And it's like, wait a minute, I don't understand. How is it that you sit there and the only reason these red states have such easy access to those social programs, it could be because of far more Democrat representation. Like Kansas only has like 4 fucking districts. It's 4 or 3 fucking districts. It's fucking ridiculous. And the only district that has a Democrat is the one the one that I live in with the KC metro area. That's the only one. The rest of Kansas is just pure red. And then the KC metro area is this giant blue dot in a sea of red. But it is so strange to me that these places where people are like, socialist things are so bad, so horrible, we should never do them, but they have such easy access to them. And they think that the reason why they have such easy access to them is because of the fact that their state is so red, is very far right. And that doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, you look at Missouri, for example, far easier to get social safety net stuff. So our social, the small amount of socialism that we fucking have in this country, is far easier to do that on the Missouri side than it is on the Kansas side. But here's the thing, the reason why on the Missouri side, one of the reasons, is not because, like yes, the areas that vote right-wing, the rural areas, woo, they are far right. I mean, we are talking like unashamedly homophobic, racist, misogynistic, like they just are. Okay, they just are. I've driven through it. Husband and I get out and have to pee somewhere. Everybody is like, I mean, yeah, that's just how it is. And during the Trump days, when first term, Biden's term, yes, during Biden's term, we would drive through there and there'd be like, Trump shit just fucking everywhere. And a ton of fucking sex places where, you know, the type, like bookstores. You know what bookstores are? This is where you have like this little area where you can go into where there's like glory holes and you put a dollar bill into a TV and you can watch porn and put your penis through the hole and have your penis sucked by somebody or even fuck someone like through it, like and it is not always a girl on the other side of that wall. Like I don't. There are tons of those things off the side of the interstate going through Missouri. Is so weird that it's so far right, but there's like sex stores fucking everywhere. But the reason why it's easier in Missouri is like not because of the part of Missouri that's very far right wing. It's because between Kansas City and St. Louis, massive left-wing voting pro-democracy areas that have put people in Missouri's House to get those things done and make it easier. Now here in Kansas, though, like I said, we only have 4 districts, and only one of them has Democrat representation. The other 3, all Republican. And so here in Kansas, to apply for any of our social, anything, the small amount of socialism that we have in this country, any of it in the state of Kansas, you automatically are disqualified. Automatically. Boom. Do not qualify. If you live with somebody who is, and it specifically words it this way, 16 years of age and older and makes $20,000 a year or more. And these shitheads at the state capitol have even stepped in and been like, oh, you have a 16-year-old that lives with you? Yeah, it's my roommate's daughter. My roommate is, no. What was it? What was the story? It was this veterinarian assistant that I knew. It was her daughter that lived in an apartment, and her roommate was this woman who had become disabled, and she was applying for assistance, and the roommate who had become disabled was even applying for assistance, applying for Medicaid, Medicare, whatever the fucking one it is, food stamps and billing assistance and etc. etc. And they literally said, okay, so hold on. So they told the person, the woman with the disability, so the person you live with who works, they have a job and they have a daughter who's 16. Found this out. They literally told both the woman who's disabled and the roommate, the main roommate that really was keeping the roof over their head and paying all the bills, told them the 16-year-old little girl needed to get out and get a job to pay for her mom's roommate's medical bills. That came from a Kansas state elected official at the Capitol in Topeka. Isn't that fucking awesome? Can you imagine being told that your child has to go and get a job so that they can pay for someone else's fucking medical care, and then still have that kind of thing taken out of their paycheck in the form of taxes, because Kansas doesn't want to pay out Medicaid, Medicare, or utility assistance or billing assistance or anything like that. So you're paying for the taxes, but there's no way you could ever fucking apply for it unless you have no place to live, because they will only help you with your bills if you've already been served a shutdown notice or an eviction notice, which means you and if you're making if you're making below $20,000, like hell, even if you're making $30,000 a year, I don't know how you can live on your own anymore with the rent rates being what they are. You will not, like, $50,000 a year barely passes the 3 times rent thing for an apartment for a 1-bedroom these days anymore. So if you're making $20,000 a year, I don't know where the fuck you live. Nowhere around here is going to cost $20,000 or less. But fucking nowhere, not even a bedroom. So I don't know how you live off of $20,000 a year. I don't know how you do that. But in the state of Kansas, when they told me we can't help you with your bills unless you've been served with a shutdown notice or an eviction notice, and they can take up to 6 months to fill out the paperwork, send it in, and get approved. So I'm like, so basically you can't help anybody until you can't help anyone anymore because they're on the street. And the lady that I spoke with at the state capitol in Topeka said, yeah, basically, because once you're on the street, you don't have an address, they can't help you. You have to have an address so they can send you the fucking SNAP card or whatever, whatever Medicaid, Medicare card thing. You have to have an address. If you don't have an address, they won't do it. So Kansas is collecting this money for social safety nets and then has built this system around them to where there is no possible way you can access them. Because if you make enough money to even barely survive, you're making too much money to get them. You're automatically declined. And if you're making so little money that you can't barely survive, you're homeless, you're on the street, you can't even go to the fucking doctor, you're bankrupt immediately if you're sent to the ER. Like, holy fuck, you know. And then they won't give it to you because you're homeless. So it's a zero-sum game. There's no way you can possibly get it. But the state is collecting the money for it. And everyone who works in Kansas still has to pay the taxes for it, but you can never access it. So these people in like Texas and stuff like that I've talked to, talking about this girl I know named Spicy, it's so weird that they're like, or this other guy that I know from Oklahoma, he's like, well, I'm in Oklahoma. We have Republicans here, so I can access all these social programs. Maybe Kansas is too Democrat. Like, I have heard that from people from Texas, Oklahoma, one of the Carolinas, so these southern, very far right, very MAGA, very, like, if you ask them about socialism, they'd be like, oh, socialism is really bad, it's terrible, it should never be done, it's taking tax on my wallet, bad. But they literally fucking think that the reason why they have more access to social welfare programs, just to the small amount of socialism we have, is because their state is Republican. And they don't know anything about Kansas and think that the reason why I don't have access to it is because the state of Kansas is too Democrat. And it's fucking not. The one Democrat that we have over this district, she's like the first Democrat that we've had in a long time in this state. Before that, it was Senator Brownback. So, like, no, Kansas is very, 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 very fucking red state. The reason why this is a blue area is because, well, major cities tend to vote Democrat for reason, you know. We live amongst a very diverse crowd here in the cities, and it's not easy to scapegoat groups because it's like, huh? That don't make sense. It doesn't work. And also, people who live in cities, it's more abundantly clear that the rich are just steamrolling us because, yeah, we live in a city, like, surrounded by, like, their fucking headquarters, and we see what they do up close and personal, and it's fucked. We're like, when I was driving through the rural areas of Missouri, it kind of got me to see that, like, it kind of makes sense how people in rural areas that that they own their own farms. That's owning your own business. Why they would look at the idea of more regulation on their business as being harmful to them, that makes sense. What they don't understand is we're not interested in that. Like, you know, like what we're talking about here in the city is we're not like you a small little thing. You're not causing problems unless you're, you know, not following public health and safety guidelines to keep your food sanitary or whatever it is that you're growing. So it makes sense that people in rural areas would want limited government because more regulations and restrictions, that would sound from their perspective to probably sound very hostile. What they don't understand, though, is being in the city, deregulation is hostile because you've got these mammoth, behemoth, enormous, gigantic fucking companies that are literally fucking extorting us, exploiting us, and doing very, very harmful things to us, and there's not a goddamn thing we can do because Republicans keep shifting the legal system more in the favor of the billionaires, these very, very large conglomerate corporations. So if the company wants to come in and like cut your genitals off, you can scream about it all you want. The law is going to be like, well, if you want to hold them legally accountable, you need about $6 billion. Do you have that? No. Well, we're not going to hold them legally accountable. Sorry, they cut your genitals off. You're probably going to die. That's what it feels like living in this. That's why people, us here in the cities, we're like, socialism now, please. We're dying. That like literally, they're killing us. They are ruining our fucking lives. It's up here in our face. We ain't worried about you guys out in the fucking middle of nowhere. We're not worried about some small mom and pop business, some brick and mortar business. We're not worried about that. I'm not worried about your cell phone. Like I know it's legitimate business. You own your own farm. That's very lucrative. That's great. When we talk about regulation and stuff, we ain't talking about you. We want to help farmers and stuff. No. Anyway, I find that fascinating that there are people in these red states that think that they have access to the social programs because they live in a Republican state. Now, to the people who live in the Democrat states, you know, blue states, totally makes sense that when you're in California, you get approved for disability, HUD, housing, Medicaid, Medicare, food stamps, and all that a lot easier than here in Kansas. But when you hear from Texas, like because you're Republican, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense to me. What is it the Republicans do that you think makes it easier to get that funding? And then it just kind of makes me think that the Republicans, like in some of the other states, are just literally taking advantage of the system. Anyway, moving on. SNAP is better known among the public as its old... Yeah, we don't need to go over that. We all know its old name. We don't need a history run. Earlier this... Wait, what was this actually? Participation in SNAP has increased dramatically in recent years, and so has its price tag. Last year, the government... Well, of course the price tag. Yeah, the food price has fucking gone up. Last year, the government provided more than $100 billion in SNAP benefits to a total of 40... I don't think that this was written right. The government provided more than $100 billion in SNAP benefits to a total of $42 million people. I think the dollar sign is not supposed to be there. I think it's meant to say a total of 42 million people. I love it when you see a typo in a news article. Earlier this month, the Trump administration reallocated $300 million in revenue from tariffs to fund a small portion of SNAP that provides benefits to pregnant women, new mothers, and young children. Finding the billions of dollars it would take to keep the entire program afloat would be a much larger challenge. During the last government shutdown, the Department of Agriculture announced it would use a special provision in the law to cover benefits for an extra month. That shutdown ended before the step was necessary. As of Monday afternoon, there has been no indication that the government is planning to either use that same provision to redistribute other funds to pay for November SNAP benefits. On top of the disruption caused by the shutdown, states are also dealing with significant cuts to SNAP that were passed this summer as part of President Trump's one big beautiful fucking bill. The bill tightened work requirements for SNAP recipients and substantially limited the number of people who can be exempted from those requirements. Those changes also go into effect on November 1st. Whee! Food insecurity by state. Oh, Texas, you not looking too good, honey. Arkansas, really not good. Ooh. Kansas, we alright. We alright here in Kansas. More cuts to the program, including the requirement that states cover the cost of benefits for the first time, will kick in over the next few months. In total, the bill is expected to reduce federal spending on SNAP by $187 billion over the next decade, according to the Congressional Budget Office. Basically, at that point, SNAP is fucking over. So, woo! Now I can bring this up. And I'll bring it over here. No, you won't be able to see it either way. Oh, but I can do this. And now you can see it. Now you'll be able to see it. What do we have here? Pepperidge Farm remembers. I know you have SSI payments. Medicare is for SSI, so it's Medicare, and Medicaid is for older people. Yeah, I don't know. I'll still get them mixed up. It's been said to me like a billion times. I still get them mixed up. It's not just red tape. They may as well be giant gated doors. Yeah, seriously. AI data centers. Cities have those too. We have a lot more of them. Like pretty much almost every building is some kind of, I don't know. Socialism would benefit rural areas. It would benefit fucking everybody. Someone have a stroke writing the art. No, it's just a typo. Yeah, so. But not having access to the benefits, that's gonna put a lot of people at, I don't know, like, I personally think that we could be looking at basically a modern depression, like a Great Depression. And I don't think that this modern Great Depression that we're going to experience, that we may experience, I don't know for sure. It's just a guess, like a prediction, like a gamble, if you will. My guess is that we're heading towards a depression, and that a Great Depression, and that a Great Depression today will look very, very, very different from the 1920s. And if we get hit by a Great Depression, where homelessness is going to rise exponentially, access to food is going to become a massive problem because of this. There's going to be massive spread of diseases because of all the shit with RFK and defunding and getting people scared to have vaccinations and all that. Is going to come. People will die. But my suspicion is that also people will say, oh, well, it's not a Great Depression because it doesn't look exactly like 100% like what happened in like the 1920s and 1930s. They're going to point out that, oh, well, people in the Great Depression back in the 1920s and 30s wouldn't have been able to have a cell phone. And it's like, well, they might have had cell phones if they had access to them back then. Like, everybody has a fucking cell. Like, there are plans you can sign up for and get one for free. Like, we have technology today that didn't exist back then, and just because we have access to those technologies doesn't mean it's not poverty because those technologies exist. Like, having a cell phone, yeah, that's great, that's nice, but, and this shows you just how consumer capitalist-based our society is. Is having a cell phone gonna feed you? Is it gonna keep a roof over your head? Is it going to ensure that you have medical care? No. I know about the AI bubble. Yeah, I want that thing to hurry up and pop. The authoritarian surveillance state shit that they want to do with AI is just, it's scary. The thing is AI could be an interesting technology to explore and everything, but what we should absolutely not have done is left it without any regulation, oversight, or control. There needs to be regulation, oversight, control on the companies that are doing AI to make sure they're not violating our right to privacy and such like that. But trying to predict crime pre-arresting people, which is the thing they've talked about, sharing our medical information with local and federal law enforcement agencies, for example, too. It's fucking up shit. And, that could have been resolved with some regulation. And so, yeah. With that, this is the last article. All the articles will be in the description. They should already be there. Doing better making sure all this stuff is uploaded correctly, but not have to go back and edit it later. So yeah, I'm heading out. Denmark put so much regulations on AI that your voice and face are basically a form of copyright. And I think that's where we should be. I think that's an excellent idea. I don't think that they should be able to just do whatever they want with it. There's also like AI, like biometric stuff where it's like it doesn't recognize like black people's faces. It like struggles with this. It's like it's a fucking problem. But yeah. So also like this is a good thing. Like I'm gonna I should link this in the comments. There's a YouTuber that made a really cool video essay about how fucking dangerous AI truly is. Here we go. Okay, so there's this video that they've done, and there's the link to it. You have to verify that you're 18. It's age restricted. It has some suicide type stuff in it. And then the other one that they have about it is this one. Another really good one that I would recommend, and I'm gonna put this in the chat. I'm gonna link this in the chat as well. No, that is not a video that you sent me. I've been subscribed to Conrad for a long time. They hadn't made videos for a while, and then just one day they started getting back into the groove of it. So those are some really, really good video essays. Totally recommend them if you really, truly want to understand the seriously horrifying aspects of AI. They do a really good job at showing that. Like it's bananas. It's crazy. But yeah. This has been fun. This has been great. I'm glad I got to interact with you, that we got the live chat up and flowing, and so we got to interact with everybody. It was I hope you all had a good time with my antics, if that's what they are, or maybe they're not. Just everybody take care of yourselves, be good to each other, peace and love, and you're Cassandra, you're gonna see that later on. You're gonna see other YouTubers covering some of the topics I brought up in these articles, and they're gonna be like, look, new thing in politic thingy, new breaking, and I'm telling you, if you read your news, you get a lot of this information pretty fucking early. Like some of them, it'll only be like tomorrow they'll be releasing these. Some of them it'll take them like a week, but eventually they'll get to it. It's already happened a couple times since I've been doing these live streams. But with that, I leave you. I'm using my "We Want It Dark" song intro, outro, and that I'm fucking out. Like, share, subscribe, comment, hit bell button.